Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I'm your host, Ronald Cabang from WagerTalk.com at UCAPR Sports on Twitter. I'll be joined by Moneyline Matt from SportsMemo and Tony Finn from WagerTalk. We're going to be talking about today's game between the Heat and the Celtics. We also are going to look ahead to Game 3 of the Nuggets and Lakers. But before we get into those games, I do want to talk about what we got going on over at SportsMemo and WagerTalk.com. From now through Sunday, May 21st, you can head over to your favorite handicappers page, get the 7-Eleven special, giving you 11 days of all-access service for the same $99 we normally charge for 7 days. It's like getting a $59 3-day pass and a $39 one-day pass for free. So pick one, pick two, or pick all of your favorite handicappers. Get their all-access service for the next 11 days for only $9 per day per handicapper. We also got the free live odds page, you guys. The deals pages. Cappers provide free picks and analysis on a daily basis, along with the daily packages that they do have on sale. Also, before you head over to those sites, SportsMemo and WagerTalk.com, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube before you go. With that said, let's get Matt and Tony up here with me today. Yesterday, guys, we always, obviously we start the show being transparent. Yesterday, I had the Nuggets team total under. I had the full game under as well, so I went 2-0 there. On a nice 8-0 streak here, guys. A lot of people are seeing the board well through, on Wager Talk, on Sports Memo. It's meaningful basketball, and that's what we know best. The regular season kind of was all over the place. But I want to go to you, Tony. How are things going for you in the NBA playoffs?
I have my glasses on this morning, so obviously I'm not seeing things as well as you are, Mr. Cabang. So, yeah. I'm getting nickel and dimed, and there's only one person to blame for being nickel and dime. That's yourself in this business. It doesn't help to be wrong and put the blame on a player or something you heard or somebody told you. It's been close. We've been close to, as we mentioned off air. Today I'm looking for a bogey, and if I can get a bogey, it's a win. So. I haven't been right about this Miami team, that's for certain. We talked about this on the NBA Tip Show. Our friend Joe Bernier, the Miami was dead to him in January. So, and look where they are. So it's fun stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, Matt, how's everything going for you over at SportsMemo with the NBA?
Yeah, everything's been really good. I've been a fixture for the last 30 days leaderboard. I've been number one for a while now and seen it pretty good. We actually started the week a little rougher. Like I was saying on Monday, I went 1-1-1, lost like 0.4 units, and that was my first loss in I think 12 days. Fouled up on Tuesday, we had a 3-unit loss, but then yesterday we bounced back and we won 6 units. So got 6 units back. We're higher than when we started on Monday now and looking to this Heat and Celtics game. And, this is one of those spots where we're getting a lot of points once again. We've talked about this pretty often, Ron, so excited to break this one down as usual.
Yeah, let's get into it. First game up, the Heat and the Celtics. This is game 2. Obviously after the game 1 loss, the Celtics, they're pretty much in the same similar situation they saw themselves in the last round. They lost game 1 to the Sixers. The next game, guys, they smashed the Sixers by 34 points. Celtics, they keyed in on the defensive side of the ball, limited the Sixers to 87 points. I mean, it seems like the Celtics really just come back off of these losses with some like a great adjustment, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's kind of like where I was looking in this game here specifically. But what are your thoughts on this one, Matt? What do you see as far as from a betting perspective?
I only have one play loaded from this game so far, and I'll be honest, throughout the entire playoffs, the Miami Heat have probably been the team that I've bet on the least, or in their series, I've probably bet on them the least because, for me, it's kind of that zigzag theory. We've talked about this, but, with Miami, however, they just seem to hang close every single game. They seem to find a way to keep it close almost every single game. And now they're getting 9 points once again. And we talked about this with the Lakers and the Nuggets, where when it was 5.5, I was like, I feel like that is just so many points for, a Western Conference Finals game. And, now we have an Eastern Conference Finals game getting 9 points as well, or 9 points even more so. So for me, I would have to side with those points once again. And, I take a look at guys like Jimmy Butler here, and personally, like, I would actually be going with his under in terms of points, rebounds, assists. I don't think I would ride Jimmy once again. But, you go back and you look at the track record of this Miami Heat team throughout the playoffs, and they've continued to score points. They've continued to do opposite of what they've really done in the regular season. So it is tough to fade them. Their team total right now is 102.5. And that's a number that they have consistently gone over this entire postseason, even when they were facing the Knicks, who are very slow, very defensive minded. And now they face a Boston Celtics team who, when they're playing at home, this Boston Celtics team averages, I believe, on 119.7 points, somewhere with, I know it's 119 something, but they're scoring a lot of points. And when you're scoring a lot of points, there's usually some pace to go with that. So that means Miami can come out, potentially score more as well. And then, on Monday, or on Wednesday, we talked about the Bam Adebayo matchup, and they're isolating Bam Adebayo. They're leaving him alone, and he's making some plays, both scoring the basketball, facilitating the basketball. So typically, I would maybe counter, and I would go under here, kind of like what I did with the Nuggets and the Lakers. We had that high-scoring game. It's generally not going to stay that way. You come back with an under. I kind of feel that way here, but I'm very conflicted just because of what this Miami Heat team has done all series long. I do have one play loaded. It is my best bet. I'm sure I'll have some more going forward, but right now I'm definitely leaning towards the Heat +9. I may plug that in as a smaller, maybe a 1 or a 2 unit play. Trying to protect my units right now at this point. But yeah, that's where I'd be leaning, and then we'll talk about the best bet when we get there.
Yeah, I know you mentioned like this large spread here. I mean, obviously like I just mentioned in the intro to this game, game 2 for the series prior, Celtics smashed the Sixers 34 in game 2 after losing game 1. I think the Heat are a little bit different in the sense that they have a better coach. I mean, Spo is probably the best playoff coach remaining in these playoffs here. I feel like they're going to be well prepared. I think they got the dogs in them as well. They got guys like Lowry and Butler and Bam who really play physical ball, especially later in the season, in the playoffs here. Since the one thing that I looked at too, guys, since 2017 in the playoffs, teams that lost as a home favorite in the previous game where both teams shot over 50%, 5-2 straight up, 6-1 against the spread, 5-1 to the under. It kind of goes with what you were saying, Matt. Both of these teams shot really well offensively, and the zigzag theory not only goes with the win-loss side, but also the over/under. But Tony, what are your thoughts on this one? Do you see anything from a betting perspective as far as the total or the side here?
Well, I do. I see a lot of things. Unfortunately, as we open the program, I'm not overwhelmed by my prowess right now to see things really well. But you have to you just grind away. You keep grinding away. You keep hitting straight putts. When the green tells you they're going to be straight putts, right? And this is really a lot of similar scenarios. You guys already mentioned a few of them, and that's we were here a year ago, were we not? Remember Miami? They held a 1-0 series lead over the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Having come back, I think it was in game 1. Didn't they come back from 13 points down in game 1 to win? Is the situation the same for the Celtics here? I really get tired, or shouldn't get tired. I really want to slap myself sometimes and say, when is Boston going to feel like they're in a corner? When are you going to see them play like they're desperate? Just without going on and writing, basically spewing out a short story for a future book, for a future short story. The last 16 game 2, guys, the last 16 game 2s where the road team won game 1. They've been won by the home team by an average of 17 points. So do you follow history? Do you these two teams being part of that history? Or is 9 points too much for Jimmy Butler? I confidently, we could have said, listen, this series is not going to be close. Boston's not going to mess around. They've already felt that twang, that pain with the Sixers, and had to do some things I thought were fortuitous anyway, right? I like the total over. I like the over 211. I thought the Celtics would come out and even their first 5 would be They'd play small. I thought Boston wanted them to play small. And what happens? Williams III starts, and Love and all the extra pieces that Miami has added. That whoever thought that we'd be talking about Love in a Eastern Conference Finals game, right? So a lot of things to talk about here that we never expected to be talking about a month ago. So I like if there's a position to land on and lean on here tonight, I still like this over, although the numbers jump 4 points.
Tony, I know you mentioned, when is Boston going to feel like they're in their backs are against the corner? And like one thing that I looked at with these guys here, the Celtics, since 2019, and that's the last time not the last time, but that was when the Celtics and the Heat faced each other in the conference finals as well. Since then, 18-7 straight up, 18-7 against the spread, also 15-10 to the under, following a playoff loss. So it seems like they do make the proper adjustments, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They're only in those games, they're allowing their opponent to score only 103 per game. And I think one thing to mention here is, is how strong they come back. I know the coaching is a little bit different and all that stuff, but even this season, 4-1 straight up and against the spread in that spot as well. I just feel like this is the Celtics' game to win. I think they're going to win this game. As far as the side goes, it's really tough because it is such a large spread, just like how Matt mentioned. But, if I was to play anything on the side, I feel like it would be the Celtics, but I'm just not as confident with it. I do think that the under might be in play. So I'm opposite here of you, Tony. I just feel like the Heat, they had a 126 offensive rating in game one. Celtics were the second best defensive rated team in the league the entire season. I know the Heat's kind of been shocking everybody and with how they've been doing and how they've been playing so far in the playoffs, but I just got to think at some point there's going to be a letdown offensively. And on the defensive side of the ball, probably a bounce back here from the Celtics, just based off of consistency, right? I think consistency of how well they play when coming off of a loss. For me, I think the under. I would say the under would be the way that I go on this one. I do have a best bet on this game. But it is up as a package for sale, so I don't want to give that one out. I do have another play that we'll talk about in the best bet section that I also took as well, but a smaller look at it. But from a prop perspective, Matt, do you see anything here? We talked about Bam and all the adjustments that need to be made because they kind of left him alone, like you said, right? He was able to make some plays from the high post and all that stuff. Do they make any changes here? After do you feel like Boston makes any changes here on how they defend Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler and those guys?
Honestly, in terms of Bam Adebayo, I don't think so. I think you just live with what goes on because with Bam, he's a very streaky player to begin with. He'll have one of those really good shooting nights. If he shoots good from the mid-range, then he's going to have a pretty good game, but it's usually not all that consistent. And I know he has played fairly well in the playoffs, but Robert Williams is a solid defender, and I don't think he's someone that you really need to throw extra bodies at with Robert. Jimmy Butler, on the other hand, yes, I do think that they're going to try and trap him sporadically, start throwing him some double teams, stuff like that, just because so much of this offense and so much of the game in general drives through Jimmy Butler. When Jimmy Butler starts to get his momentum, when Jimmy Butler starts chirping, whoever's guarding him, whether it be Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, whoever it is, that's when the Miami Heat starts to go. And that's when this Boston Celtics team in the crowd is like, oh shit, here comes this Miami Heat team. And it seems to happen series after series after series. So Jimmy is the one that you have to slow down. I don't think you really focus on someone like Bam. If Gabe Vincent gets you from the outside or Max Strus gets you from the outside, you just live with it. You continue to close out and you continue to play that defense. But if anything, I do think changes to Jimmy Butler, and that's why I'm not man enough to probably take a Jimmy Butler under right now, but if I were to look anywhere, I think it would be Jimmy under. But for Bam, I think you just continue to play him straight up and you just live with the results because Bam is an up and down player. And if he has one of those crazy series, then he has one of those crazy series. That just happens in the NBA sometimes. But the guy you got to shut down or at least try and limit is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It would mean like just basically trying to trying to force everyone else to win this game other than Jimmy Butler. That kind of makes sense to me as far as that goes. Tony, real quick, one more question before we move on
Sure.
to Game 3 Lakers. The bench players, the role players stepped up for Miami. You mentioned like guys like Kevin Love and those guys, but do you think typically we say the role players step up at home more so on the road. Do you expect these guys to play another solid game back to back for the role players like Strus, Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, and these guys? Do you expect that type of play from them?
Well, I don't listen. A year ago, I would have said I trust I trust the Celtics defense. Of course, I would have said the same thing about the Heat, right? And neither ring true with me right now. Neither ring true. One of the reasons I mentioned already in the last segment we talked about, I like the over. And we know two things. One is that Tatum is going to continue to headhunt, right? We know that he's going to essentially what he's going to do is do what he's good at doing, and that's he's going to target mismatches. There's a lot of questions I wanted to ask. We probably don't have enough time in the show, but I wanted to get your opinion on some things I thought might help me. Tatum had a strong scoring game, and he's still the guy that's going to have to score. He's got to score if Celtics are going to win this game, mostly because the Heat don't pay extra attention to him unless he gets into the paint. That's the only time they'll throw some extra defenders a couple steps toward him, but they don't double him unless he gets into the paint. For Miami, I think they need to find another way to win. Don't you? Do you believe that they're going to continue to shoot 10 for 15 from mid-range, 16 for 31 from the three-point line? I don't think either one of us. They're going to have to find other ways to win. Coach Spo is the better coach in this situation, the more experienced coach in this situation. I trust that he's going to do some things, whether they work or not. Time will tell. We'll know later on. We'll know whatever it will be, 9 o'clock Pacific time tonight when all things are said and done, right? But they've had to win in a lot of different ways, Miami has, to get where they're at right now. And to discount them as being dead would be a mistake. I'm going to have to 9 points is too damn many, right? I'm still looking for ways to support Boston here tonight because of what I told you earlier. I mean, that's a big deal. Yeah. Last 16 times to win by an average of 17 points, a margin of 17 points. Is that comfortable enough for you guys on a 9-point spread? Not so soon.
The other thing too, one more thing to note is they got to limit their turnovers, man. I think Jaylen Brown obviously had as good as he is offensively, he needs to work on his ball handling a little bit. I mean, the 6 turnovers, some of those were unforced, man. They're just dribbling off his leg and things like that. So he's gonna have to make some changes there, or their offense needs to adjust as far as the amount of times he has the ball in his hands playing one-on-one. Like you said, I think Tatum is the guy that should be having the ball in his hands the most. Obviously, Brogdon and Smart, they're really good decision makers as well. So I think get the ball out of Brown's hands in these one-on-one situations so that he's not making these unforced errors. All right, with that said, guys, let's move on to Lakers Nuggets Game 3. Man, this is a great series. I mean, I think a lot of people expected the Lakers to bounce back in Game 2. They did cover the spread. They didn't win the game. They almost got it done. They almost came back again in the fourth quarter there, but obviously things didn't go their way there. It is another situation where it's been profitable historically in the conference finals to back the team down 0-2 in Game 3 of the series in these conference finals. 14-9 straight up, 15-8 against the spread in the Killer Sports database. That goes back to the 2002 NBA playoffs. And it's even better at 9-3 and straight up and against the spread if it's the home favorite in Game 3, and that's what the Lakers are here. Is this a situation where you can only look towards the Lakers to go come back 2-1 to get the series to 2-1? Tony, let's start with you. What do you think about this Game 3 here and the Lakers' chances of winning Game 3?
I have a little wager, side sawbuck wager, pink slip for our car wager with Mr. Profit. And we all, if you've been around, well, and you guys have been around here, the Profit came into Wager Talk out of his California post office. A big Lakers fan, always has been. Now, last year was rubbing a little wrong, and he's not quite the passionate faithful that he once was. But did you not? I mean, it's not good. It is not good. I said last night that if the Lakers could win when they were up by 10 or 12 and Davis had 4 points or something like that, was 4 for whatever it was. It wasn't much. And Haji was tearing it up, 7-7 first half. I'm one of those that I just don't. Here's the deal. Did Denver learn anything from their game 4? And I'm jumping, right? But did they learn anything in game 4 against Minnesota? When they won game 3 and they were facing a game 4 to sweep Minnesota in the series before they faced the Suns. I guess we're still back a little bit. I thought it's game, set, match. There's just no way Minnesota being short on the bench, having this Daniel suspended, et cetera, right? We're going to be able to hang with this group, not the way they're playing. And I've never seen such a nonchalant attitude and I want to say the camaraderie among these Denver fans and the player base personnel. They never really fret. They don't really look down. They don't, when they lose or they're getting beat. They just keep grinding away. And I think this is a little different. I think game 3 and game 4 in LA. I think game 4 settled and is decided by what happens in game 3. And I know that maybe that's obvious or maybe that's cliche, but unless the LA can win game 3, not just win it, but win it with some decision, with some confidence, with some rhyme with decision, with some kind of precision. They haven't been consistent. And if LeBron James is going to come down after being 1 for 105 from the 3-point line and shoot 3 straight possessions without running clock, and truthfully, guys, if you watched the game, and you did, didn't you? Not close. Your shots were not close. So who tells him, dude, take the ball, lower your head, you bulldog, the biggest man on the floor, the strongest, the smartest man on the floor, and take the ball to the rim. Without that happening, and without a low-scoring game at the Crypt, the series is over, isn't it?
Could be. I know the Lakers, Matt, we'll get to you here, but the Lakers at home, especially in the playoffs, they have been a little bit different, right? 7-0, straight up 6-1 against the spread, also 5-2 to the under. Their defense shows up. Opponents in those home games in LA only averaging under 100 points per game, 6-1 to their team total under. Only reason why the one game went over was actually due to OT. They ended up going over their team total by only a point. So their defense really does show up at home, but this Nuggets team showed, their offense is legit with Jokic running, dudes going off with triple doubles pretty much every single game here. But man, this home road split with the Lakers, even the Nuggets they're not that great of a road team either, Matt. But what do you think about game 3 here between the Lakers and the Nuggets? For me, I feel like it would be Lakers or nothing here. This is, a spot where they had to show up. And like what Tony said, if they do win, they cannot let off the gas pedal. They got to make a statement here. And if they're up, they got to just keep going, get some momentum going into game 4. But what are your thoughts on this leading up to game 3 here?
Yeah, I completely agree. For me, it is going to be Lakers or nothing. I would feel confident taking them with the -5.5 as well. And, to this point, I've been on the Lakers every game. I've taken them the +6, that push. I took them with the +5.5. They ended up landing last night. And, you got to take your hats off to the Denver Nuggets. They have played some absolutely incredible basketball. Nikola Jokic is playing by far the best of anyone in the playoffs, and I think there's no question that this guy is the best in the world at this point in time. The way that he is able to affect the court in so many different ways, being so big, able to bring that ball up, distribute. I thought Anthony Davis might be able to slow him down a little bit, and it just doesn't look to be that case. But I am still going to hinge on that old saying, a series does not start until a home team loses. Okay, so now Denver Nuggets took care of business, won both of the games at home. Now it's the Lakers' turn. It's not that it's not that out of the question for a team to go down 0-2 and then tie it up 2-2. This is a Lakers team that is incredibly talented with LeBron James, Anthony Davis. They have a great supporting cast with guys like D'Lo, Austin Reeves playing amazing, Rui Hachimura playing amazing. Really, the only guys that have kind of had off nights have been Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And on the other side, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray most definitely have not had off nights. And Michael Porter Jr. is contributing contributing now, making some great 3-point shots, stuff like that. But I also think they're very much hinging on their home crowd a lot. They feed off that crowd big time. When that crowd gets going, that's when that team gets going. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens in LA because, again, guys, everyone is talking about the Nuggets right now, and I very much understand that. They definitely look like the better team in basically every aspect. But all it takes is one game. If the Lakers can win this game and win it in decisive fashion on top of that, then the momentum shifts back to LA, and they have that opportunity to go out, tie this series up. So for me, I would be on LA here with the -5.5, with guys like LeBron James, guys like Anthony Davis, they've been in this scenario before, especially LeBron. And I think if there's anyone who can rally a team, get them going, get them ready for a spot like this, it is going to be LeBron James. And at some point, I know playoff Jamal Murray is a different thing. And obviously, like playoff Nikola Jokic has been a different thing as well. But, I thought last game was going to be that off night for Jamal Murray. And we saw what was happening when Jamal Murray was off. The Lakers were up 10 points through the majority of it. If Jamal Murray now goes on the road and there's not a Batman and Robin duo to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, I think the Lakers can get this one. And if that happens again in Game 4, I think the Lakers can get Game 4 as well because I do expect LeBron to step up. I do expect Anthony Davis to step up here. Anthony Davis has been out-rebounded by Jokic in both games. Now I'm interested to see what is going to happen in LA. You got to protect that home court. That's where everything starts. So, yes, I would definitely be with LA with the -5.5. That'll 100% be a client play. So, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think I'm probably going to end up going in that direction as well. You see in the last series too, Nuggets went up 2-0 against the Suns in convincing fashion, winning Game 1 and Game 2 both by double digits, and then they end up losing Game 3 and 4. It's crazy to think that there's still a lot of guys out there who bet on sports and kind of see that once they lose 2 in a row on the road that they can't get it done at home. I think it's just a big difference here in the playoffs between the home road splits. It's kind of crazy to see that. But at the same time, the Nuggets are just a different animal right now. They're all put together. The chemistry is on point. We're seeing Bubble Murray back in play as well. But, with that said, I do think that the Lakers get it done here in Game 3, and we'll see, what type of adjustments. Like, I think I mentioned this on either Wednesday or on Wednesday's show with Jeff Michaels on the show as well. But in these later parts of the playoffs, it's really hard to really play these futures bets on these teams because I would rather just look at it game by game and see what type of adjustments are going to be planned by each team and catch the edge that way. In my opinion, I mean, obviously the value, you'll probably get some value on the series futures, like higher plus money stuff like that, but I just feel more comfortable, going game by game. That's just my strategy here later in the playoffs. With that said, guys, it's time for the best bet section. Tony, let's start with you here. What is your best bet for today's show? And tell the people what you got going on over at Wager Talk.
Over at Wager Talk, I have at this point nothing. At this, we do early taping of this trip dub, and Fridays typically are a day that I don't need an excuse to, cross my T's, dot my I's, because almost all baseball goes late. And this time of year, that's our focus. Unless you're much more versatile than me and you like soccer and you basically participate in all the other extracurricular secondary pitches in our industry, then it's basketball and baseball. So that said, nothing. But right after the show, my baseball will be up and my NBA will be not very far behind. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about talking about the Lakers. I'm excited about the Nuggets sweeping the Lakers 4-0. Nothing personal for the Laker fans out there, but I got nothing like beating. Listen, there's nothing in the world. And Joe, you might want to tape this. There's nothing in the world feels any better than beating Ski Profit in a personal bet. There you go. Yeah. But we'll have some good stuff up. We'll have some props and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of props I like, much more so than focus on the game side in total. Now,
gotcha. Do you want me?
Yeah, I apologize. I got kind of tailed there. I did
No, it's all
before the
good.
show started.
I know you
Before
wanna
it
you wanna
started,
be ski prophet so bad that you wanted to
yes,
skip the best bet too.
yes. Yes, is that if there was a prop, just a desire in the joy that one gets from such an event, you know. No, I like the over 211. Listen, I like the over 211 in game one in the series. We've talked about the Heat. They really have surrendered, right? They've waved the white flag and said, "Listen, we have no choice. We have to outscore you because we don't do the same things defensively we were able to do a year ago or 2 years ago, for that matter, guys." And while Butler's still doing his thing, getting to the line, scoring points, he's not the defender he was last year or the year before. Bam, he's the one they have to depend on to defend, and he's actually, as you guys have already mentioned, doing some things offensively because they're just ignoring basically offensively. They ignore him and say, "Here, shoot, beat us. If you beat us, good for you. We don't think you can." I think the number this morning was at 214.5 or 215. I still like this over. I sure liked a lot better at the opening number, especially in the game one on 211. But I don't expect defense. I expect the Celtics at home to be offensive, to say, "Listen, we don't believe you can outscore us. So give it a shot if you want." But the Boston team total and the over the 215 are the way I'm going to go here. I think that's the way you should go.
Got it there. Matt, let's talk to you here. What's your best bet for today's show? Also, what do you got going on over at sportsmemo.com?
Yeah, right now over at SportsMemo, like I was saying, I got one play loaded, and this is actually the play. So we don't got much time left in this NBA season. I'm currently in second in overall NBA playoff profit. I'm sorry about that. And definitely trying to make a push for number one. So you can definitely expect me to have some plays every single NBA game. You guys know I'm a volume guy. I have 79 plays this playoffs, hitting at a 56% rate, up 30 units, and we're looking to keep that going. And we're going to look to keep it going, starting with Jaylen Brown. We're going back to him. He hit last time. This time it's over 24.5 points. And the reason I like Jaylen Brown tonight is very similar to why I like Jaylen Brown before. Jaylen Brown is one of the most consistent players on the Boston Celtics, probably is the most consistent player in the Boston Celtics at this point in time. And, 4 times this playoffs, the Boston Celtics have been coming off a loss. And in 3 out of 4 of those matchups, Jaylen Brown has gone over this 24.5 point mark in a rebound fashion game. So once again, Celtics coming off that loss to the Miami Heat, looking to bounce back, and Jaylen Brown has actually been that guy to help this Celtics team in bouncing back. He's been shooting incredibly efficient over these playoffs. He's shooting 53.6% throughout the duration of this NBA playoffs, and actually really likes playing the Miami Heat. On the season, or the last 3 matchups, I should say, Jaylen Brown is shooting 57.6% against the Miami Heat and is averaging 30.6 points per game with a 37-point high against the Heat as well. So the ceiling is definitely there for Jaylen Brown against this Miami Heat team. The floor is very low on top of that. And that's a lot of the times when you look at props, you're looking at that too. He's got Jaylen Brown has been very aggressive. He's coming off a 21 field goal attempt game in game 1 against the Miami Heat. So the volume is there. And then if you're shooting at a 53.6% rate and taking around 20 shots, odds are, it's pretty good that you're going to go over this 24.5 point mark. So again, this is one of those spots where the Celtics better feel like their backs are against the wall after losing game 1 as 8.5 point favorites to the Miami Heat. And the guys who need to rebound and respond are going to be Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So I really do like the look of Jaylen Brown here. Wouldn't be surprised if both Brown and Tatum have good games here. So my best bet for today is going to be Jaylen Brown over 24.5 points. And one last thing I wanted to point out for everyone is right now the Boston Celtics are minus 220 to take the series after losing game 1. If, in fact, you still like Boston to win that series, go ahead and take a look at the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, because Jason Tatum just yesterday was minus 120 to win the Eastern Conference playoff MVP. So again, if you still like the Boston Celtics to win this series at minus 220, you might as well almost go Jason Tatum for the MVP at minus 120. You're going to get way better odds. I believe Jaylen Brown was plus 175 behind him. So if the Celtics do end up winning the series, which I fully expect them to do so, I would think Jason Tatum is the one to lead the way. So you're getting a little better odds there at the minus 120 with Jason Tatum if you're looking to do something like that.
I like it. I like it there. Obviously, I think the Celtics will win this game. Not sure what to do with the total there for the full game, but the one thing that I'm going to be looking at is really, how I expect this game to go, just game flow wise. And I expect the Celtics to take over in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter minus 1.5 spread there. Celtics have won every single fourth quarter following a loss by at least 3 points. This shows their ability to pretty much regroup and come back strong when facing adversity. I feel like playing this way, expecting the game flow. I think that the Heat can probably stay close the first 3 quarters, and then the Celtics take over in the fourth quarter. With this in mind, I think just the strength of how their trend has been following a loss. And if we look back since 2019, like I mentioned earlier, 18-7 straight up and against the spread on the full game, primarily winning in the fourth quarter by about 5+ margin in those games. 1.5 isn't too much to ask there. If it's a close game, and we expect the Celtics to win in the fourth quarter, free throws might come into play, and they're a really good free throw shooting team there. So I trust that they get it done by a 1.5 there. That's the way that I'm going to go. That isn't my top bet of the day, but it is a premium play. I do have another top play in the NBA in today's game, tonight's game over at wagertalk.com. If you want to head over there. Again, the package that we have available right now, the 7-Eleven package, I believe it's available over at Wager Talk and SportsMemo through Sunday, May 21st. You can head over to your favorite handicappers page. 7-Eleven special gives you 11 days of all access for the same $99 we normally charge for 7 days. Just talking about what Tony has, he's touched on that he bets on MLB, NBA, and all that stuff. I know Matt also touches UFC and things like that. So a lot of us handicappers over at Wager Talk and SportsMemo, we handicap multiple sports there. So make sure you take advantage of the all access. With that said, it is Friday, so we won't have a show until Monday. I believe we'll have a show on Monday. And so until then, guys, good luck with all your action. Good luck. Peace.
Peace.